Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Wildcard. Deal or no deal, don't worry. I'm not about to replace Noel Edmonds, although I think I would be a very good game show host. We're here to talk about the first three games of the Premier League and ask you, do you want to get in the comments and get your Wildcard in relation to your predictions? Now remember who I predicted to win the league, top four, relegation. Do I want to stick or do I want to twist? In the style of fancy Premier League, where you have a bad start, everyone's laughing at you, you do your wild card in international break and you're looking to bounce back. What are your thoughts on the first few weeks of the Premier League? Are you changing your mind? Look, brilliant video yesterday. I think that's a big part of what That's Football's all about. Brilliant to have Bundesliga live rights. Lots of other things coming down the road. We will react to topical things, but I also do think that as a fan of football, there are also important things to talk about, like ticket prices, fixture congestion, fixture changing, VAR, the Premier League, how other leagues are doing better than us, the flow of the game, all these things are really important. And I think in the first 3 weeks of the Premier League, I would look at it and go, look, I predicted Arsenal to win the league. Do I want to change that because Liverpool beat them, have 9 points from 9, and have Alexander Isak up front for them now? You know what? I'll come back to that one. I also said my top four would be Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City. Man City have lost 2 of their first 3. So that is an interesting point as well. I put Man United in 5th. Do I want to change that now that they've not bought a midfielder? And I had the 3 up, 3 down with Sunderland and the other 2 who got promoted, who I've just completely and utterly forgotten who came up. Burnley, Leeds. You didn't catch me on that one, did you? I tell you what, I tell you what prediction I don't want to change. Patrick Bamford being the first manager to be sacked, because he did actually get sacked. He just wasn't a manager. So, yeah. Just looking at the fixtures when they come back, by the way, Liverpool are going to play against Burnley. Then they're going to play Everton, and then they're going to play Chelsea. So, no, Crystal Palace and then Chelsea. So they've got a good run of fixtures. Arsenal play Man City second game back. First game back is home to Forest. So they've got to play catch-up and they've got some difficult games to come. I think in relation to Liverpool, it's a very good start, but I think any Liverpool fan would put their hand up and say, that doesn't mean I'm a Liverpool fan, by the way. I'm not having any of that nonsense, but I think they would put their hand up like that and say, we haven't been that convincing, but it's brilliant to win when you're not. Isak adds a new buzz to them, and I don't know if Arsenal fans maybe you should be worried about invincibles. Maybe they're going to win every single game, but they're not. I think Liverpool have shown some vulnerabilities, and I think they will be exploited at certain parts of the season, but they're going to be favourites. And obviously, I could easily change and say I'm going to go for Liverpool to win the league, but I'm still sticking with Arsenal, and not because I'm stubborn. I am, but because I actually think that Arsenal and Liverpool are ridiculously well matched. I think both had a very good transfer window. You could argue Arsenal maybe slightly had a better balanced window, whilst Liverpool brought the better players in, certainly with Isak. But I think with Arsenal, they've got 6 points from 9. They got beat by Liverpool because of a worldie by Szoboszlai, and it was at Anfield. So I think the next few weeks are very key for Arsenal. If Arsenal drop points at home to Forest and drop points against Manchester City, then I probably would revise my opinion that they can win the league. But if they double down and win both those games, I'd say this is going to be a hell of a title race. And I expect Liverpool not to falter. I think Arsenal are going to have to motor to get Liverpool out of the way. I definitely think if you've gone Liverpool to win the league, well done. But I'm still going to stick with Arsenal. I think they have a solidity at the back, and I think they have better depth up front and in the attack and in the midfield. And I think if they can keep the mindset and not get, sidetracked, I think that they are, they're 3 points behind Liverpool. They've got to bring Liverpool back to the Emirates. I think for Arsenal, it's a drop stitch, but it doesn't ruin the jumper. And I think that jumper could well end up with the Premier League on the front. So I'm going to stick with Arsenal on that one. Let me know your thoughts. In relation to the top 4, would I take Man City or Chelsea out? I think Chelsea have started very, very well, and I think Chelsea fans might be saying, "Hey, hello, what about us in the title race?" They've done well, Chelsea. They had a very good result just at the back end of the 3 games. Obviously, they've got Liverpool coming up relatively soon. I think Chelsea also had probably one of the easier starts out of the top four. They come back and play Brentford away, then they play Man United away, then they got Brighton at home, and then they got Liverpool. So I think there's some interesting games for Chelsea, and if they can come out with 10 points, they'll be in a great position at the next international break. I definitely put them in the top four. Title race, probably not. Man City should be in the top four, same as last year. Crap season, but still get top four because they've got so much quality. But 2 losses out of 3 isn't great. I mean, things would have to go. Man City would have to be in a proper crisis for them not to be in the top 4. I still think I'm not going to change anything there. Man United in 5th, I will change. If I can use my wild card, I will change that. This was based on basically the hype around Baleba and maybe even Donnarumma. We ended up with Le Mans in goal and no midfielder. So I can't put United into 5th. I actually think Newcastle ended up with a good window and got 5th last year. I know we ridiculed them, but Voltemeda, Wizza, Alanga, Jacob Ramsey, the centre-back from AC Milan, and Ramsdale as backup goalkeeper is a good window for Newcastle in the ability of building, squad depth and options. And we know that Eddie Howe can pull those results out, and we know that 2 points from 9 is very unrealistic. They probably should have got a point against Liverpool with 10 men. They should have beat Villa as well. And I think with the striker, they might beat Leeds. So I think Newcastle are in a false position. I would wild card Newcastle into 5th, even though I don't want that to happen. I can't put Man United in 5th. So that I would wild card that. I also think I'm going to wild card Sunderland out of the bottom 3 as well. So I'm not going to sit back and be stubborn. I'm going to move Man United out of 5th and put Newcastle there from my pre-season Premier League predictions. And I'm also going to wild card Sunderland out as well. But you only get one wild card. That's the twist. So do I want to put Newcastle into 5th and take United out? Or do I want to put Sunderland out of the bottom 3? I'm going to put Newcastle into 5th and take United out. I can't see us getting 5th place. I'll keep Sunderland in the bottom 3. Sunderland could still go down, but 6 points from 9 is a brilliant start for them. Both home wins, and it's a better start than the last 2 years when we've had teams promoted and it's 3 up, 3 down. They obviously spent a load of money. None of us really know who these players are, even Sunderland fans. But I think there's some intelligent signings there. And to get off with wins, really important because it shows you can win in the Premier League. So Sunderland would be certainly a club that I would be keeping an eye on. I think they could stay up. I really, really do. So, yeah, let me know your wild cards. Let me know your changes. Maybe you didn't do any predictions. Maybe you've just changed the predictions and you want to get in the comments. But do that. What are my general thoughts on the Premier League for 3 games in? I'm long in the tooth enough to know that we're not going to have the rhythm and the flow. I think the international break, in many ways, I would expect teams to come back and be better than they were in the first 3 games as they get their rhythm and their match fitness. In some ways, I think it's a bit of a shame that Liverpool and Arsenal played each other so early, but we probably would have got that later in the season anyway, and injuries, etc. But I think it's going to get better as the weeks go on. My primary concern is the officiating and the inability to let games flow. I mean, we're just blowing the whistle all the time. Let the games flow. But yeah, I think there are a few themes that have been set. I think Aston Villa might have a tough season. I think Newcastle will bounce back. I think City will be fine in the top 4, even though they've lost their first 2. I'm surprised Nuno is still in charge at Forest after, Potter saved his job by beating him. Jose Mourinho's waiting around. I thought that might have happened in the international break. And the relegation teams have done a lot better than I thought, really. I think Leeds have started off quite well. Burnley even looked okay against United, and Sunderland have been fantastic. So, look, I think the competitive nature is there as well. Bournemouth beating Spurs was a bit of a shock, but it shows that, even though these teams lose good players, they bring good players in, they're well coached. Seen it with Fulham, very unlucky against Chelsea because of VAR. So I think it's been an encouraging start. I think it's going to be a competitive league at both ends, which we didn't get last season. But yeah, if I was going to complain, I'd say what I said in the video yesterday. I think that's the biggest issue at the moment. One thing I could have changed was my golden boot winner. I can only use one wild card. I'm going to use Newcastle for 5th and take United out of 5th. Gyökeres, I'm still sticking for golden boot anyway, so I wouldn't have changed it. Let me know your thoughts. Get your comments in. I'll speak to you on the next one. And I'm not doing England against Andorra tomorrow, by the way. I'll do England-Serbia on Tuesday as a watch-along, but I'm not doing England-Andorra. It's sunny in the UK, and to be honest, things I'd rather do than watch England play Andorra. I mean, God, it's just, no, thank you.